thing is saying that our ability to control people is the people have to be thrust in a complete fraudulent society. Everything has to be totally fake. And the ability, how do you control the people? You give a people their human rights. You give them the right to vote. And you give them the illusion that they're governing their own self. And once you give them this freedom of voting, the freedom of by the people, of the people, and for the people bullshit, you can immediately put them into slavery. You see what I'm saying? You give them a leader. You always make something wrong with the leader. So if you give them a president, you always get something on the president that you give to the public his flaws. And you make fun of the president, you know he got to come on the dress. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you feel that you are in charge because you know something about your so-called quote-unquote leader. Number one, if he's visible, he's not the leader. He's vulnerable. There's always somebody leading him, but we give you the visible, false decoy leader. And then you give him all, you know, you had the big nose Nixon and, you know, and all the stuff you make jokes. And he become the butt of the society. You know, the peanut man, you know what I'm saying? You know, and then, you know, blackhead, 70-year-old Reagan. Yeah. And you always give him some stuff. Racist. You always give them a characteristic that you can vent your frustration as well as something you have on them that make them human and make you feel big. And so therefore you think that you're in society. You think you're in control because you think you put him there. And he has flaws. And it's the other people's side, the Republican or the Democrat, and they're the people that's wrong. So basically you create a deception. And basically you can just run shit because the people will be locked into thinking in actuality that their lives mean something and their lives are in control because they take elected officials. Same thing like Tiva said they do in Detroit. Everybody get mad at the fucking mayor. Like the mayor has some power. He ain't nothing but a manager. No different than he's over the fries at McDonald's. You see, but the key here is you vent your frustration out and talk shit about him like he literally has something to do with the running of Detroit. But this is a form of the fraudulent society where America is the most people in slavery because they think that they're free. You see what I'm saying? So this, and it goes into and says about education. Private education is not allowed. So you got all these so-called private schools, you fund them. And if you give them money and you fund them, you can dictate and you can control what they get because you fund them. You see? They create both Democrat and Republican, right and left. If you got a radical group that starts up, you first infiltrate and you fund. So they love radical groups because this makes a polarized society. So you thinking in actuality, oh yeah, that we talk shit about the white man. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, that brother that won't bend, that brother won't bow. And so you don't know they feeding that system. You see what I'm saying? Because if everybody went along with the system, people start to wake up. So you always got to have the right and the left, the radical, the conservative, the clandestine. You understand what I'm saying? You know, what's that, sister?
But don't they also create the illusion of poverty and disease?
Not only that, too, they say in this book that you take the poor and you give them money at the middle class expense. This creates a resentment amongst both groups and a dependent, and basically you can rule based on all of that, as well as religion, which is the greatest thing to make people to rule.